had an audience there. I didn't want to sell merch because I thought I don't think that's a good use of the audience's time. And also I think it's like not what I want to do. And so I then in about 2019 started doing, 5 or 6 just open mic gigs just to stand on stage and try and tell some jokes. And then I kind of started working with a director, and then we did my first show in 2021. And so I've been stood on a stage for about 4 or 5 years. Okay. But it's been kind of a process of like, trial and error, as in what is my thing coming from the world of online.
This is the thing I'm most fascinated by, because I've got so many questions about what your comedy is. Like I've seen clips of it, and it's almost like you're in there's a kind of newer genre now, which is, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's live YouTube. It isn't.
It is.
Is it?
It is. Yeah. It's not. I tried in my first Fringe was 2021, and I tried really hard. I was like, right, I want to be part of the comedians. I want to be a comedian, and I turned up, and the audience isn't there to watch a comedian. They're there to watch the guy they see online tell some funny stories with some funny jokes, hopefully. And so I was.
You mean the people who were there for you?
Yeah.
So
the
your
audience. Yeah, my audience.
How do you escape the needs of your audience? That is most of what I want to talk to you about.
You don't really. And I think we've seen this quite a lot recently with Matt Rife, who became very popular online, doing stand-up, but doing a lot of crowd work stuff. Yeah. He became incredibly popular with crowd work, sold thousands of tickets. And then I think wanted to be accepted a little bit more by the comedy crowd, his fellow comedians. Mm-hmm. And so was doing a material that his audience that had bought the tickets were like, what? No, we know you for the crowd work guy. Come on, talk to us. And so I was fighting against. I was like, no, I'm going to, you're here to my show. I can do kind of whatever I want. And I realized very quickly, first of all, it's a very arrogant way of thinking, because ultimately they're the ones who pay the tickets. You should be providing them with...
Well, it's give them what they want.
Yes.
And that's one way of doing it, isn't it? It's give them what they want, and there's give them what they don't know they want.
And so now the show is... The style of comedy it's very storytelling-esque. It is... Here is let's pull the curtain behind a video that you all know, or if you don't know, I'll briefly tell the story at the top of the video of the segment, and then here is something that happened. Like, here are the times I've got into trouble for sneaking into the London Aquarium dressed as a baby.
Sure.
And so that's what the shows have now become. And a lot of it was, in my first show, was navigating the posh angle as well, because I thought it was important to talk about that. But then in the show that I'm doing at the moment, it's more like, hey, you've seen all these videos, but did you know this also happened during these videos? So I wouldn't say, I can't, if someone called me up and said, hey, do you want to do 20 minutes at the store? Yeah. I'd be like, no, I can't.
That is absolutely fascinating to me. It's sort of exhilarating to hear you say that you started doing stand-up as an alternative to merch. That is like, thanks for saying it. You know what I mean? That is a remarkably candid kind of approach. I also think that there's something really fascinating about the fact that your kind of the crucible of your youthful experience of stand-up was not Jack D doing a set, but Jack D doing a game with the text me kind of phone stuff. So it just makes me realise, so much of comedy at the moment makes me feel like a dinosaur. And to me, 2017 is yesterday. It's a blink ago, But I think that one of the reasons I'm fascinated to talk to you is because I think it's incumbent upon all of us to stay abreast of what comedy is. And of course, I was probably becoming a comic in the kind of what people refer to, I suppose, as the Russell Howard effect, where it's a young guy in jeans and a T-shirt telling funny stories about things he's seen and things that have happened to him. And whilst that comic has that career and inspires loads of other comics, not necessarily to do that sort of thing, but just makes it go, this is also possible. This is also possible. In a similar way, people doing things which I think this sounds crazy. I still think of Jack D doing the kind of text game as a relatively new thing. It was text. They were glorying in the idea that everyone's got a phone. My God, we can do something with that. So to sort of go, like, like the Russell Howard effect, the Jack D doing the text game had a similar sort of an effect where it generates excitement in young people like yourself who are sort of going, you can do a thing with technology.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, coming to stand up as I did from street performing, where I had, props on the street, juggling and walking on a tightrope and stuff. When I became a stand up, I broke with that. I said, I want the opposite of that. I will never use a prop on stage. Yeah. That's cheating. I want purity. I want just the word and the thing. And if the store ring me up, fuck yes, I can do 20. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so to me, it's quite exhilarating to hear you be very kind of open about going, how long could you do without a video screen, do you reckon?
I could probably do, it would be a lot of crowd, it would just be crowd work.
No crowd work,
nothing.
Yeah, like have you got any stand-up material? Because I asked your PR, can you send me a clip? And I watched Social Butterfly as well. And it's really fascinating. You sent me the clip of the ABCD, the xylophone thing, which in itself, again, isn't stand-up. No. It's a description of a parlour game with some funny audio played in. So how important is it to you?
So what we've realised is that I'm not a comedian.
No, that's fine. I've had, like I said, I've had a wrestler. I've had a child psychotherapist. I'm interested. I'm certainly interested. But what does it mean to you? I'm interested specifically in that decision when you went, I've got an audience here. I think I want to be a comedian. They arrived and they didn't go for the comedy that can you tell me some of the comedy that you tried to do before realising, that's not what they're here for?
It was still I still had my crutches basically of screen or clip, but it was normally about hey, this is what it's like being a posh. I was trying to go off write about what you know and go from there. But they were just no, tell me about the bit where you wrote "Welcome to Luton" next to Gatwick Airport.
Yes.
And initially that was quite frustrating, but actually no, you are not. I don't think I was the person to decide what they should be listening to. These are the people who have paid money and given their time. So I should give them what they want. But
and
also,
I suppose for you, paid that it's mind blowing to me. You're coming to it from the perspective of already having had millions, tens of millions of audience experiences for which you weren't there. Do you know what I mean? What must that be like? People are coming to see you who have never met you and have never seen you do a live thing. They're coming to see you because they saw you play. I really enjoyed, paintball against the SAS, the SAS against your friends. You've got some very, very funny ideas. They're done in a very funny way. And I particularly enjoyed you had Ian Sterling, give you a sort of a challenge to write jokes based on what a 7-year-old would tell you, and then you went and did them and always be comedy.
Yeah.
And I have to say, one of my first big laughs at one of your videos was when you cut away from Ian saying, "Oh, you said, are you on tour?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm on tour. You can get your tickets at W." And he just cuts away. I shouted laughing at that. It was great. So the experience that people are having when they come to you and your experience of them, that's the thing. I think that what makes you unique in comedy, or and maybe it is not, and maybe it's a trope of people in your position because there's fucking loads of YouTubers now. And they also want to sell tickets, have live experiences, walk off stage with 5,000 people. I think that because you've never met them before and learnt to bend them to your will, do you know what I mean? I think that's what comics go, I've got a funny idea. Yeah. I'm going to say it. They didn't laugh. I'm going to fucking say it differently. Do you know what I mean? That's one of my kind of, and I will occasionally openly say this to an audience now, is if you're not laughing at this, then that doesn't mean it's not funny. It just means I've failed to successfully communicate to you what I've found funny about it. Yeah. But that isn't a thing that you've had experience of wrangling with, because your experience of an audience is numbers going up on a screen, and presumably one would hazard some sort of interest graph, or you can tell when they drop off. So you do have a sort of parallel experience to a comic. You create a thing.
But we're doing it through data. I have something called a retention graph. So on YouTube,
tell me about the retention graph.
On YouTube, they will give you. I will show you one right now. On YouTube, they will show you what percentage of people are still watching. There's no reception on there. What percent? They will show you what percentage of people are still watching throughout the course of the video.
Yes, gotcha.
So it will be aligned that ideally, within the first 20 seconds, there'll always be people that drop off because, they've clicked on an idea that maybe not be something for them. But then you are always hoping that line is as flat as possible. Because if it rather than a kind of a slide down from top left down to bottom right.
Sure.
Because if it's a flat line, okay, they've
The
bought
people
into
who
the
bought
idea
in after the 20-second drop-off
and they've got
stayed.
they are in for the storytelling.
And
whereas,
presumably it never goes up because that would represent people
who would
starting halfway through.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes
could you do
see
a
little
retention
bumps.
graph video saying, could you all just skip to 1 minute in?
You do sometimes see, often with brand, if I'm like, I'd like to talk about Aero for sponsoring this video. They will often then, the way that people watch content now is they understand that a brand is going to happen,
I'll skip.
and so they will
Probably
then
a minute.
they will
I'll
stop
skip.
a minute.
Yeah.
So then you'll see this big like crater where it will then just drop, but then come straight back again.
So do you have to go to the brand and say the video will get 15 million, but your bit will only get 4?
We never show them the retention graph. So that's the one thing we say.
Okay.
We'll never give you the retention graph because they'll never know. But so we like I've. You're right in the sense that with live comedy, you've got to be like, right, come on, here we go. We're all in this together. And when I started out, I was wrangling with that myself of trying to get them to join me along for the ride because, unlike YouTube, they're not going to stand up and get out and walk out. So it's okay getting that 30% that might not have been interested at the beginning that would have normally just clicked away.
Yes,
it's brand like, come on, we're dragging you with.
I suppose they won't physically leave the room at a live gig, but you can tell how focused they are.
Yeah.
So you have your own slightly less data-driven retention. It's almost like, was it the Nielsen test where people are kind of rolling a ball that suggests, I don't know if I'm conflating two ideas. I feel like there are focus groups for TV shows where people are turning dials going, I'm into this bit, I'm less into this bit. You're having to do that yourself, I mean, as are we all, by checking out how into it they are.
Yeah, and that's normally... The demographic of people who come to my shows is vast anyway. But often that 20-30% are the mums and dads who've been brought along by their teenager.
Okay, they're like, I'll give him 5 minutes. Yeah, I get what this is.
Yeah.
Podcast in one ear.
Yeah. One of the first opening bits I do is I find the person who's never seen my YouTube videos before.
Gotcha.
Because I'm like, right, okay, I understand what you're sat here right now is. I'm trying to get into their mind where they're sat there in the first 5 minutes, being like. Okay, right, let's just get through the next hour. I'm like, right, you've never seen the videos before. Fantastic. Okay, well, this is what I normally get up to.
Okay.
And so I normally at the beginning do this is what I've been up to kind of bit because everybody who's seen the videos are like, oh, yeah, I remember that one and that one and that one.
Oh, it's like a montage of these are some highlights from previous videos which satisfy or titillate the fans.
Yes.
And also express what you do. This is very good.